Good evening, everybody. It's great to see everybody. What a great evening we're going to have. We're swearing in 2 new officers, and it's another great evening for Bristol Township. But before the meeting, this is official Bristol Township Council meeting, September 21, 2023, and it looks like the starting time is 7:02. Please stand for a pledge of allegiance. Moment of silence for all our service personnel overseas here, our men and women in blue, and our emergency responders who take care of us day in and day out. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We need roll call.
President Bowen.
Here.
Vice President Murphy.
Present.
Mr. Antonello.
Here.
Mr. Blaylock.
Here.
Ms. Dunlap.
Here.
Mr. Glasson.
Here.
Mrs. Wagner.
Present.
Hit the on button on the back.
Howdy.
There we go. Before the meeting, we met in an executive session.
Yes, prior to tonight's meeting, Bristol Township Council met in executive session where personnel matters, collective bargaining issues, litigation, and township real estate were discussed.
Thank you. Monthly reports are available for review in the Township Manager's office. Public comments will be taken on land development and official action items. General comments will be taken during opportunity for residents to address council. Next, we have presentation, public hearing, Police Department new officer ceremony, swearing in. We have Chief Colton. Good to see you.
Hello.
It's always good to see you.
Good evening, everybody. And again, I'd like to thank Council President, Manager Elton, and the members of the Bristol Township community for their continuing support for the Bristol Township Police Department. And tonight, it's my pleasure to introduce and swear in 2 of our newer officers. Both began working for Bristol Township Police Department in August of this year. The first officer I'll call up is Junior Rivas Brenton. Junior? Officer Rivas Brenton grew up in Warwick, Rhode Island, graduating from Tollgate High School in 2014, where he was an All-American baseball player and excelled in track and field. After high school, Officer Rivas Brenton moved to Philadelphia and enrolled in the Temple University Police Academy, graduating in October of 2022. Before joining the Bristol Township Police Department, Officer Rivas Brenton worked as a full-time police officer in Tullytown Borough for 7 months. Officer Rivas Brenton is assigned to the Patrol Division, and for his swearing in, the Bible will be held by his wife, Maria. Maybe. Here's the Bible. The oath of office will be administered by the Honorable Judge Terry Hughes. Judge?
Yep.
All right. I state your name.
I, Junior Rivas Brenton,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth.
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth,
And I will enforce all laws
and I will enforce all laws
of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania
of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania
and the ordinances of Bristol Township.
and the ordinance of Bristol Township.
I will discharge the duties of my office
I will discharge the duty to my office
with fidelity,
with fidelity,
integrity,
honesty,
without consideration
without consideration
to a person's race,
to a person's race,
color,
color,
sex,
sex,
religious creed,
sexual orientation, age,
national origin, ancestry, handicap, or disability.
or disability.
As an officer of the Bristol Township Police Department.
As an officer of the Bristol Township Police Department.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done. Congratulations. Thank you. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the official board. Thank you. The second officer that we'll be swearing in tonight comes from Bristol Township. Officer Michael Leonhauser, please come on up. Officer Leonhauser was born and raised in Bristol Township and graduated from Truman High School in 2020. He obtained an associate's degree in criminal justice from the Bucks County Community College in May of 2022. Officer Leonhauser comes from a large family of police officers that inspired him to join law enforcement ranks. So in June of 2023, Officer Leonhauser graduated from the Montgomery County Police Academy and was hired by the Bristol Township Police Department on August 15th, 2023. We look forward to watching Officer Leonhauser serve his hometown community for the next 25 to 30 years. Again, the Honorable Judge Terry Hughes will administer the oath of office. Officer Leonhauser's mother Hillary and father Mike will be holding the Bible.
I state your name.
I, Michael Leonhauser,
Do solemnly swear
will solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and I will enforce the laws
and I will enforce the laws
of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania
of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania
and the ordinances of Bristol Township.
and the ordinances of Bristol Township.
I will discharge the duties
I will discharge the duties
of my office
of my office
with fidelity,
integrity,
integrity, and honesty, without consideration to a person's race, color, sex, religious creed, sexual orientation, age, national origin, ancestry, handicap or disability, as an officer with the Bristol Township Police Department. So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry for almost messing up your name.
It's okay.
That's good stuff. Yeah.
Again,
Thank you.
congratulations. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you. And thank you, officers, for everything you do.
So much to be had.
We'll be moving on the agenda in just a minute while the room clears out. All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is commendation of Penco Tech in honor of the 50th anniversary. Great to see you. Thank you.
Hi.
There we go. That's better. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. There you go.
I have a resolution for you. I thought maybe you want to say a few words about Penco Tech before we gave it a resolution. I did go to Penco Tech back in, not to show my age, 1978, 79, 80 for special classes, and it was a great school. I learned a lot.
5 years after we arrived in the neighborhood.
Okay. Yeah, it was great. So I haven't been, I know people go there for, even today, for your special testing with the state inspection and mission testing.
That's
So
correct.
It's great to have that facility down here.
And offering 10 different programs from automotive technology to now welding, our newest program.
Right, that's great. And it, as we know, it's definitely needed and throughout the country.
Trade schools are very popular right now.
Yes, they are.
Again.
Yeah, thank you. So I have a resolution that we're going to offer you and, of course, Penco Tech. And it's Resolution 2023-65, resolution of accommodation of the Township Council of Bristol, Bucks County, Penco Tech on their 50th anniversary. Whereas Penco Tech was founded in 1973 when Philco Ford and the School of Electronics and Drafting located in Santa Clara, California, were acquired by John, was that? Hobiak, thank you, of Penco Institutions Incorporated. And whereas the School of Electronics and the School of Automotive Technology Center moved to its present facility in Bristol and consolidated as Penco Tech. And whereas in 1978, a new Penco Tech facility opened in Pennsauken, New Jersey, and later relocated in 1984 to a larger facility in Blackwood, New Jersey. As whereas Penco Tech has added over 10 new programs to their locations, and whereas Penco Tech Bristol campus is named as one of only a few trade schools to be official OSHA authorized outreach program, and whereas Penco Tech is the premier trade school in the tri-state region. Now therefore be it resolved by the Bristol Township Council that Penco Tech is celebrated for their 50 years of business and honor for their loyalty in Bristol Township. Resolved and adopted this 21st day of September 2023. Congratulations.
Thank you very
for
much.
coming out.
And on behalf of Penco Tech and the Hobiak family and all of our staff and students, we appreciate you enjoying and participating in the recognition of our 50
Thank
years
you.
in our neighborhood.
Don't go
Thank-
nowhere. I'd like to get a picture.
Absolutely.
And just actually, while everybody's shaking hands and getting back to their seat, Penco Tech is the latest business that has donated a play structure to the township. So our Public Works has taken it down and rebuilding it in Winter Village, which will.
Get me my lips untied there. All right.
Here's
Okay.
the exciting part of the evening.
Yes, we have a presentation from BBD LLP of the 2022 audit of financial statements. Come on up.
Make it exciting.
No applause for me?
There you go.
Yay!
We'll see how quickly you're done.
Waiting on the news.
Sure. All right, just here to present kind of a brief synopsis about the audit for the calendar year ended 2022. First part is just to go over the auditor's report. So the first 3 pages of the audit report just basically explains our opinion. The opinion here This basically just changed a little bit from the previous years. It's a little bit lengthier in terms of the audit report itself, but essentially it states the same things. It gives our opinion at the top of the audit report on page 1, which is that we issued an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion, meaning that the financial statements were fairly presented in accordance with GAAP. It also outlines management's responsibility as well as our auditor's responsibility, which is to conduct the audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and government auditing standards. And then it talks a little bit about the required supplemental information and some of the other information that's outlined throughout the report. But in general, it's a 3-page report that says we're issuing a clean or unmodified opinion. Beyond that, I like to tell council board members that the pages after the audit report on pages 4 through 15, I believe, in your audit report, in your audit package, rather, is the management's discussion and analysis. And there you can find most of the highlights and general information. That's usually a brief, a much pared down version of the highlights throughout the report. Instead of reading the full 70 to 80-page report, you can find most of the information that you would need to know through those 10 or 11 pages. Beyond the management's discussion and analysis, on pages 18 to 20 of your report, it talks about your governmental funds and some of the results for the calendar year. There you'll see that your general fund had an increase in fund balance of about $2.8 million for the year. I'll talk about your general fund budget in just a moment. But that increase brought your fund balance, it increased that, and all that fund balance is considered it brought it to about $15 million, and all of that fund balance is unassigned. The capital reserve fund had a decrease in fund balance of about $2.1 million. So again, you were spending some of that capital money that you had designated for that purpose during the course of the year. And then you'll see on this chart that most of your other funds had less significant changes year over year, and all of the ending fund balance for those respective funds were committed or restricted for their specific fund purposes. On the next slide, it talks a little bit about your general fund budgetary comparison schedule. So there you'll see that there was a favorable variance for budget to actual for your revenues of about $3.5 million, a favorable variance for your expenditures of about $1.2 million, an unfavorable variance for your other financing sources and uses of about $2 million. So overall, you had a balanced budget. You had an increase in fund balance of about $2.8 million to the positive. Most of that budgetary difference was related to revenues in excess of budget for your real estate transfer and earned income taxes were significantly greater than what was budgeted. Spending was a little bit less than what was budgeted, and then because of that, there was your unfavorable variance in your other financing sources was related to a $2 million transfer that was made from your general fund over to the debt service fund for future debt service payments. So that's kind of a high-level synopsis of what happened with your general fund. Beyond that, your sewer fund, on the next slide if it comes up, but I'll just talk about it briefly, is you had an increase in fund balance of about $2.8 million for this fund as well. You had operating income of around $1 million and non-operating revenues of about $1.7 million. Most of this increase was related to funding that was transferred from your governmental funds over to the sewer fund related to the ARPA grants, federal grants that you guys received, and about $2 million was spent on the sanitary sewer projects during 2022 related to the federal funding that you received from ARPA. So that was the predominance of the increase that was related to that. You received about $2.01 million of federal funding, and that money was spent, which is now in your capital assets for your sewer fund. You have 2 pension plans and another post-employment benefit plan. So your police pension plan was about 81% funded at the end of 2022, which resulted in a net pension liability of $13.6 million. That liability increased a little bit during 2022 related to the performance of the investments during 2022. So sometimes there's just a timing impact of that, where certain years you're going to perform better and certain years you'll perform a little bit more negatively. 2022 was one of those, so that the funding went down to about 81%. A lot of that has returned to a more positive impact during 2023. Your non-uniform pension plan was funded at 122% 122%, so you had a net pension asset of about $1.5 million. The reason for the stark difference between your police pension and your non-uniform pension was because this is valued as of the end of 2021 for non-uniform pension, because that's part of the PMRS system. Those reports are on like a 1-year lag, so when you report for 2023, you'll report 2022 results. So I would expect to see some negative investment returns during that, which may lower your net pension asset for your OPEB, or for your non-uniform pension plan. Your other post-employment benefit plan had a decrease in the liability of about $6.8 million for the year. That plan isn't funded, it's just paid out on a pay-as-you-go basis, so as benefits are paid out, they're expended to the township. So there's not a trust fund established for the OPEB plan, which is fairly common with a lot of municipalities throughout the state. You also had a single audit, which was related to spending of federal funds. If you spend more than $750,000 in any reporting year, you have to have a single audit conducted. Your spending was about a little over about $4.5 million for the year. Most of that related to your ARPA or coronavirus state and local recovery fund spending, which was about $3.6 million during calendar 2022. So that program was audited as a major program related to your single audit. We issued 2 separate reports related to that. There's a report on internal control over financial reporting and compliance, and a report on compliance with requirements applicable to that program. There were no findings that we reported. We evaluated internal control, no issues with that, and we issued an unmodified opinion on compliance related to those federal award testing that we conducted. There's a summary of that listed in the back of the report. The summary is on page 70, which I believe is the last page of the report, if you want to look at the high-level notes related to that testing. Lastly, there's just some required communication. So associated with your audit report, we also issue a separate letter that just explains if there was any disagreements with management, which there were none. We went over the detailed audit results with management. Management and staff fully cooperated with all of our inquiries and our audit testing that we did, and we encountered no significant difficulties while trying to perform the audit. So that's just a separate letter that you get that accompanies the audit report, which at a high level just says that there was no issues. And that's what I've got for you. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
11 years when we came on board, 2012, we were deciding to declare bankruptcy or not. So with all what you just said, how are we doing?
Extremely well.
Okay,
yes.
thank you. All right, that sums it up. Yeah.
Okay.
See, and that's not accountant speak, right? That was different, the extremely well,
Yeah,
right?
that's not a technical term.
Thank you, I appreciate
Thank
that.
you. And we apologize, we had technical problems. We
Not
wanted
a
to show
problem.
some of the slides. We
I
probably,
can
Thank you.
post this on our website tomorrow.
okay, that's what we'll do. So if anybody wants to
How
see
ma-
the
real
website-
quick question, how many years has your outfit been with us now?
3.
3, it's 3, this is the third audit you've done for us.
I
Yes.
believe so, yeah.
Okay,
No, I know so.
I knew Randy would know.
Yeah.
So, no, that's very good.
And we really enjoy working with them. They're very, very,
That's
very
what
good.
I've heard, so we appreciate that. Good job.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right.
All right, thanks for coming out and bringing the presentation.
Thank you.
Next, we have a public hearing and presentation of Community Development Block Grant Program 2022 CAPER. Van, good to see you.
And the man.
Yeah, we got technical problems. We just went back 30 years, but that's okay.
Okay.
Yep.
My
Go
whole
right ahead.
script is-
Van, introduce yourself, please, again.
Good evening. My name is Van Strother. I'm the Director of Community Development for Bristol Township. We administer federal funds received from the Department of Housing and Urban and Economic Development to do projects and other supports to benefit the low to moderate income population. And we now have the PowerPoint presentation up and saved for the day. Don't speak too soon. I'll keep on going. Yes, I do, if you could. Okay. Well, calling from memory,
Yes,
perfect, thank you.
this is what good leadership is, right?
Yes. Well, tonight's presentation, which you won't see, but it's here on a laptop and it's free to anyone who wants to look at it afterwards. It's a presentation for the annual report for the use of the CDBG fund for the past fiscal year. Our fiscal year begins in July 1, 2022, and ended in June of this year, of 2023, June 30th. And we're just going to report on the activities and accomplishments. The federal funds are received from HUD and is based on a formula grant that we receive and is calculated throughout all municipalities, and Bristol Township is a entitlement community in which we receive the funds. This year we receive a little over $641,000 for programming, in which we had administered home repairs, we did a public service project, and other administrative tasks to administer the federal funds. We also received CARES Act, called CV funds, CDBG CV, in which we supported family services of Bucks County, in which there was housing provided for the newly homeless. It was temporary housing, in which that has ended now. We also did improvements at the homeless shelter on Library Way, in which we did improvements, air purification projects, and that was just strictly for to prevent the spread of COVID. And that contract is now ended, and we're just moving on to other activities. We had two home programs that we were operating. We operate our emergency repair program for income qualified residents. There were a total of 17 homes that had repairs, and we had spent $156,000 on various home repair projects. They are emergency repairs, active leaking roofs, heaters that are actually broken, and a collapsed sewer. Those are the three main areas that we really have the capacity to handle and administer, and it's probably the most important, because you have families that are in the homes and they want to continue to live in the homes, so we are able to do these repairs and help the residents out. We have community housing partners that we work with. We work with Bucks County Housing Authority, and this year we did a public service, and we had a summer camp that we provided assistance to, and we'd just like to thank Councilman Bowman and Dunlap that was very supportive, and there was even personal assistance that was helped with a couple of residents. We'd like to thank you publicly for that, and Councilwoman Dunlap, we thank you for your support and guidance in that activity. We also provided some technical assistance to two nonprofits, affordable housing provider nonprofits, Better Homes of Bucks County, in which we provided technical assistance. This is a housing provider, nonprofit housing provider that has 37 affordable housing units, and the bulk of them are in Bristol Township, and we were working on an application with them for housing preservations to continue to be maintained as affordable housing. The second affordable housing provider was Interfaith Housing, in which they currently have an application they're working through, and the governing body was very supportive in providing resolution to develop two affordable housing units, and it's in the Green Lawn Park area, and we're just continue working, with the township engineer to guide that along and put two new affordable housing units online for income qualified residents. I have some great pictures here that I really like, but maybe sometimes we can share, but it's anyone's, everybody go to the site. Public projects that our department worked on was an adaptation of the new senior center that's to be constructed adjacent to the existing our department just provided support to the fire marshal, who's kind of coordinating 3 projects all at once, and we just had to do an adaptive reuse of an existing drawings that was once purposed for one use for a township, but we adapted it, and the drawings and the contract documents are ready to go out to bids and at the governing body's pleasure when that's to be released. The second facility is the township facility located in Greenlawn Park also, and which is going to be modified, and I believe we had given presentations of that. And the governing body was also very gracious that you awarded a contract, and we had a meeting last week with the general contractors and the subcontractors, in which Gilmore orchestrated and is managing the giving project administration over that project. We're hoping to have that under construction. And I learned a lot in the past several years, working in the community, and there's a lot of sweat and toil that has gone into it. And I know Councilwoman Marcia Dunlap has done a lot of work even before I got there, and I know that I've seen that she's went into her own pocket for a lot of project cleanups, even before we were thinking about that. So we'd like to thank that forerunner of work that was performed. And lastly is again, we'd just like to thank the governing body for supporting, providing a summer camp, in which some of the representatives of the operators of the camp is here, and if any of them want to come forward and just say hi.
Hello. Great to see you.
How you doing?
So you helped out with the summer camp.
Yes, sir. My name is Brian Dixon. I am the co-founder, and my wife, Shonda Dixon, that's sitting in the back. She's the other half of New Creations of Life, Inc. Miss Casey is our executive assistant, and we want to thank y'all very much for all y'all support and everything that y'all have helped us with in this community. We were able to service 49 families. We were able to take them on some trips that they hadn't been to. Yes, we did the trip to Dorney Park. We did a trip to the aquarium.
We did.
And what was the other one?
We did a farms.
Shady Brook Farms.
Yes.
Yes, and then we had a closing at the camp where we were able to collaborate with a whole host of organizations, where we had a book bag drive, and we were able to give away a lot of stuff,
I could say something really fast. Hello,
Yes.
sorry. Oh, okay, Mike. Good evening again. I'm Simone. I had the wonderful opportunity of working with Mr. Brian and Ms. Shonda Dixon during the summer program. I just personally want to say, being on both sides of low income and then having income, you get a chance to kind of see what goes on in those communities. Right. Sometimes we don't pay attention to things that go on outside of us if it's not at your front door. So having people that care about those type of things. I know we have some people that run these nonprofit programs and don't have an altruistic bone in their body. So these people here are people that are hands-on inside, dealing with these people. We have one of the elderly people in the back that just came here to support. We apologize for not seeing our faces at these meetings more often, but we're just becoming new to these being things that are very important to be here and to understand and know about. So we wanted to show our face, also say thank you personally. I'm another person that is personally helped by NCL Inc. employed. He was able to employ some of the community. There was a lot of things that were done that was amazing. So we thank you for your support. We thank you for allowing us to be here and speak our piece. Look out for us and remember our faces, and I thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So Van had continuously said that this camp was doing great things, and how many of the local kids that it employed, about 17 to 20?
Yes,
local
yes.
kids.
That was,
yeah.
Yeah, no, that was unintended, well, it was a positive thing that we discovered, that the Dixons and their assistant was very helpful, and they recruited local teenagers for camp counselors. And it just dawned on me, I mean, you're doing economic development and helping the local residents, circulating local dollars, giving teenagers an opportunity, which, unemployment, during the summer months, it gives them thing. And I spent a lot of time there, and just going there and seeing it just puts a whole new demeanor on them. They give them a responsibility. Giving the teenager responsibility is just a wonderful thing. And we just like to thank you, the Township Council, for supporting the project. And thank the Township Manager. She was fantastic through all the things, so we should give her a big hand.
But yeah, that was the one thing that Van came back every day and said, not only are the kids working, but it's life altering for the kids.
Right.
It's a job, they have self-worth, pride, and it's just, it's a difference of just a kid having a job versus a kid coming from low and moderate income and being able to give back to the community and just feel good about it.
Van had reached out to me, and he needed money for a trip to Donny Park.
Yes.
So I belong to another organization, Bucks County Community Foundation, and I went to the board, and they had no problems approving money to pay for the bus trip. So if that comes around again, we'll be there for that, all right?
And this grant, this block money will be available for next year. The program is slated to
Yes, sir.
continue. Is this something that, because this was the first year we did this, right? This
Yes.
past summer, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I just want to make sure that this is something that we're planning in perpetuity, like this will continue, right?
Yes, and yes, it's an action plan, but also that's the purpose of the building on Schumacher Drive.
Correct.
That'll be a center for children and youth. We're talking about other possibilities, we're not there yet, but the whole goal for that building, the existing township facility building, is for children and youth doing summer camp and other things, but we have to flesh out the details and make sure, everything works out. But Council Bowen.
Okay.
I
forget my name.
I was going to say commissioner.
The name's here.
I'm sorry. He's been modest, but he also, there was another request in which he personally provided assistance. We'd like to thank you for that
That's
also.
no problem. That was a hot summer, and somebody had to do something about
But
it.
we'd just like to say thank you
problem.
publicly for your quiet donation. So many others that are just supportive. We just really thank you for that opportunity.
That's no problem. Before you go, one thing, if, just so the residents at home, if their roof is leaking or the sewer's backed up with the community development block grant money, what is the cutoff where financially you can help and you can't help? There's a number.
$10,000 per household, per home.
Right.
One-time shot.
And
And it's one activity. And the purpose for that is just to spread it out, because we have a waiting list and we can't do everybody. But that's also a good point, because we do get applications, and when we do the investigation, we find out we want to repair everything that we can. But in fairness to others that really need it, some calls or requests can't be satisfied because it's not truly a repair. And from examples, I do get calls and applications in where a person says their insurance company came out and said they got to replace the roof. And I just asked them, is it leaking? And one of the pictures I had is that when a call comes for a roof, I go out and I really need to see a roof stain that is actively leaking and not just doing an upgrade. Same with like a heating. We have our technicians go out and verify, and sometimes they'll call me back and says, Van, we went out, we tested it, they just need a switch, it's not a whole heater. And another call I received, someone said, well, my heater is working, but it's not running efficiently. We really like to put an efficient heating system in, but we really want to have somebody that's in dire need, that's broke, it's in dead of winter.
And the last question I have was the income.
Our income requirement.
Yeah.
We follow the guidelines established by HUD. We don't do it. It's at the federal level, and it's a sliding scale based on how many persons are living in the household, and then the number is adjusted. So if it's at one number, I don't know off the top of my head, but If it's two persons, it's a certain number, and it gradually gets bigger as you get in. So if you have, you know, a household of two parents with 3 kids, it's 5, and then you look at the chart.
We have that graph on the application, so people would know. It changes every year, and it goes from one household, one person in the household to 10, so it's a hard, no. It's a lot to remember off the top of your head.
Yes. You're welcome. Thank you.
Wait a minute. I have a
Thank
question.
you.
I have a question. How long is the waiting period, you were saying, for someone to have a roof or?
Currently, we have currently we have 7 on the waiting list. Right now, we are out waiting for the next allocation of funds to come in. We went through all the funds. Actually, we had to move some money to help other homeowners to keep it going. But right now, how long does it take to get to what I say about like 4 to 6 months, depending on what's on our plate at that time. You know, when you receive an application, there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that has to be done to satisfy the HUD requirements. But outside of that, all of our contractors are very responsive. Sometimes they'll get out within a week. We'll get several bids, and then the lowest bid will get the award and dispatch. We have very good, reliable contractors.
Great. Thank you, Van.
And then, of course, true dire emergency of you know, somebody that couldn't be in the home because they don't have heat, they don't have water, they don't have the sewer lateral working. I mean, we do put those up on top. So, you know, we might have a backup because we have to go through the due diligence, but yeah, exactly. The true emergencies, especially. I mean, we've done it a couple times with sewer.
Yes.
And then obviously in the winter with heat.
But I just want to thank you for the 3 I referred you to. They were all roofs.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for all those 3 families. So thank you.
Oh, you're happy to do it. We're
Thank
here
you,
to
Van.
serve. Thank you.
Great to see you.
All right, thank you.
Moving right along, we have the consent agenda. Consider approval of voucher lists and requisitions dated September 21, 2023, in an amount of $3,847,071.34. Consider approval of August 17, 2023 council meeting minutes. Consider resolution approving the Bristol Township 2022 Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report, CAPER, and authorizing its submission to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. We need a motion on all that. Motion by Marion Wagner. Second by Cindy Murphy on the motion. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you. Next, we have a report from Township Manager.
I just have a few things. With the impending weather happening this weekend, we did decide to reschedule our Fall Festival. It was supposed to be scheduled on Saturday with a rain date of Sunday, and both days are going to be a washout. So we are now rescheduled to Saturday, October 14th, same time from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Hope everybody can make it. Tonight is our first night of the Citizens Police Academy. So that is a great, next time it comes around, if you haven't signed up or, you have a chance and opportunity, we have a wonderful police department and officers running that. It's really enlightening. We are also hiring in our police department. We have a written exam on Saturday, October 7th at 9 a.m. over at the Senior Center, and deadlines to submit for your application are next week, September 29th. And Randall Avenue Bridge. Kurt, you want to take this one? I'm sick of being Debbie Downer.
Sure. So I think that maybe the last update we provided was that we were trying to still get a vehicle out there to do the inspection, and then sort of pivoted away from that to just kind of cut to the chase and get a contractor to come out and do some emergency removal of the concrete to try to at least stabilize the condition. And we did have a field view with Amtrak, and we got out onto the tracks from underneath, couldn't get up to the bridge itself, and just seemed to find that it's such a logistical challenge that even a contractor with the capabilities of who we brought out, they're not real interested in taking on that high risk and difficulty. So we're a little bit back to the drawing board once again, and we do have some new leads on some contractors that have done similar things. There's a lot of bridges down in Philadelphia that have similar construction and are over the Amtrak lines, and some in New Jersey. So we're following up on those leads to try to find contractors who might be willing to take it on. So, you know, it continues to be a difficult situation. We saw some things that didn't look real good out there. So we're just trying to fight. Now we're coming into colder weather months, so we want to try to stay on this and try to get it done. But we've been working on it for about a year now, and haven't made great progress.
So Kurt, when you're referring to the contractors and the challenge, it's they're only allowed to work for what, like 2 hours?
Yeah, so it's
a
from
day?
12 till 4 a.m., Monday through Friday, but Amtrak can't really commit to 5 consecutive days, and because they have other projects going on, I think south. So it's almost like a day by day when you can know whether you can go out there. And the other challenge is getting equipment, materials in and out. If you're on the tracks, you're probably coming down from Morrisville, and it's about a 20-minute drive on the tracks in reverse in the middle of the night, and that cuts into that 12 to 4 window. So both ways, you know, you're tying up almost an hour. And then they pointed out that they don't want us up above tracks that will soon become active, still removing concrete, because you don't want to have a precarious piece of concrete that you're halfway removed and you got to get off the tracks. But you don't want to get off the tracks till you have the concrete removed safely. So really hard with the number of tracks that are out there, that there's not a window to even do the work. And when you start having those conversations with even the most skilled contractors, they are well-fed and well-busy doing other projects that won't stress them out. And yeah, so, you know, Amtrak, as willing as they are to help, and it's elevated to very high levels where they're getting pressured constantly also. It just seems like we're fighting a battle we can't win. But we're continuing to do it. Like I said, we do have some strong leads with contractors who they've said have successfully done similar work. So we're just on that hunt right now to find somebody willing to play ball.
So if I understand this, the estimate would be that the best a contractor could accomplish would be a 2-hour work time and actually doing the work. And even then, it's dicey, because if you're in the middle of something, so nobody really wants to take it on. So this, you know, I'm frankly not optimistic about anything ever getting repaired on this bridge. So I don't know what our recourse is going to be moving forward.
Well, we will let you know when we know.
Are we looking into what it would cost us to demolish the bridge?
Yes, we applied for the RAISE grant. The demolition was $9 million, and the demolition included with the reconstruction would be $25 million.
That's
just the sheer demolition. We didn't get several grants that we've applied for, but just the
right.
demolition
Yeah,
alone
we
is $9
talked
million.
about that. It would be about $9 million. But
And those estimates, by the way, are very
low.
Guesstimates.
Guesstimates.
Let's call the estimates guesstimates.
Let me ask you this, from what I just learned recently, though, not only that, Amtrak's lines are tied into the bridge and could be responsible for part of the problem.
Well, the structure itself and the underneath of the bridge beams are supports for their catenaries. And the other challenge is we looked at putting a debris shield underneath to just catch anything that would fall.
Right.
But those catenary lines are, we haven't been up there to measure them, but just by standing 15 feet below,
distances.
it's not even 2 feet, it's less than a foot. So any kind of structure that would go underneath there that could fit and not drop down into the catenaries is almost impossible, if not impossible. And, oh, by the way, it's a 3.5-ton weight limit bridge before it was closed, so adding any dead load onto the bridge will only cause more
structural
issues and further prevent the opportunity to ever reopen that bridge.
So it's strange and bizarre, number one, that the township has responsibility for a structure like this. It's unusual, it's out of the ordinary, and we shouldn't really have to deal with it. And now we find out that the catenaries that Amtrak absolutely has to have to run their trains are attached to this bridge. Sounds like an Amtrak problem to me.
Well, we don't disagree. I've had conversations with the PUC. They say it's not unheard of for a township. If you look at the countywide map or Pennsylvania statewide map, it's not unheard of a township to own a bridge over a railroad. So even because we were thinking of taking the position of once the bridge would decommission, we can then appeal again to the PUC of ownership and maintenance responsibility. He kind of likened it to when somebody's coming in here for an application to a zoning hearing board, and you know it's not going to fly. You're wasting time and money.
Got it.
Yeah, but do other counties have it over the northeast corridor of the train?
He said yes. He
Yeah,
said this is not an unusual situation.
Wow.
We didn't do a ton of research into that after hearing from the PUC that that's more of the norm. It almost sounds as if the rule of thumb, and don't quote me on this, is that if the road is over the tracks, then it's the municipal responsibility. If the tracks are over the road, it's in reverse. So like we said, down in City of Philadelphia, they have a bunch of bridges that go over the tracks, same tracks, and they do say that it's the city's responsibility. And same with over in New Jersey, the New Jersey DOT has several, and they have worked on similar types of projects, not identical, but similar difficult situations.
So even if we did decommission the bridge, and even if the funds were found, we have a problem because somebody's going to be responsible for the reconstruction of the catenary lines.
The bridge is decommissioned.
Right.
That's completed. And yes, I mean, those are all the items that we're working out. I mean, I do want to thank Kurt and Dennis Kennedy and everybody from Gilmore. They have taken this very seriously, and they're working very hard. And we're working with all of our elected officials, Fitzpatrick, Sanacero, Davis, and, we're going to go higher up because, we have to do something. We can't just have this liability now that we're aware.
Yeah. Yeah, and then this has been a growing thing, and it really, I'm frustrated because it shouldn't be the responsibility of the taxpayers of Bristol Township at this point, so, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Nope. Report from Township Solicitor?
No, I have nothing to report
Okay,
tonight.
great. Thank you. New business, application of Pico Energy Company, 2301 Market Street, Philadelphia, PA, requesting final land development approval for a proposed utility service station located at 3798 Edgeley Road, Levittown, tax parcel 5-47-87 in R3 Residential Zone District. Good evening. Great to see you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name's John Holderman. I'm Assistant General Counsel of PICO. And just to give you a 30,000-foot overview, PICO proposes to construct a 2,500 square foot addition to an existing warehouse at Emily's Service Building for a garage service bay. John, pull the microphone. Sure. For a garage service bay to service vehicles that are housed at the facility, so we don't have to send them out to other locations. And on September 5th, the Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of the plan, including all waivers in PICO Engineers' letter of August 21st, 2023. PICO has agreed to comply with all the comments in Gilmore and Associates' letter of August 28th, 2023, including dedication to the township of an easement at the intersection of Edgeley Road and Mill Creek Parkway. So we ask you to approve the final plan, subject to the conditions agreed upon.
We need a motion from the board. Motion
I'll
by
second
Mary Ann Wagner, second by Sidney Murphy on the motion. Is there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Great to see you. Thanks for stopping
Thanks for
in.
your patience.
Thank you.
All right, next we have the application of County of Bucks, 55 East Court Street, Doylestown, PA, requesting preliminary final land development approval in order to construct a new government service center on the property located at 7321 and 7325 New Falls Road, Levittown, tax parcel number 5-31-002, 5-35-247, 5-35-248, and 5-35-249 in the MS Municipal Services Zone District. Good evening.
Good evening, Council. My name again is Dan Gracer. I'm a Deputy County Solicitor with Bucks. Along with me tonight, I have Jeff Downey from Carroll Engineering. He's our project engineer. He has paper copies of the plans with him. He's smarter than I am and brought a backup plan in case you need to look at those. In the back of the room here, I've got several members of the county, including our COO, Margie McKevitt. We've got our architects from Erdy McHenry here, and we're here tonight to ask for preliminary final land development approval for our Lower Bucks Government Service Campus building located on New Falls Road. I did have a presentation for you, but I realize the system is down, so I guess what I'd like to do tonight is just answer any questions you have about the project, explain a couple of things, a couple of recent changes based on some of the communications we've had with your staff. I'll have to say, first and foremost, your staff here is excellent, as you probably are aware of that. We've had, as you know, this project has moved along quickly, and we've had absolutely no issues contacting your staff, them getting back to us, and really has really helped this process move along. So I wanted to mention two changes to our initial plan. The first is based on your comments. The first is really to place a new fire hydrant, right? There's a request, I think at the last meeting and at the Planning Commission, to place a fire hydrant next to the fire hall where the fire company is, and we're gonna do that. The second change, and this is my understanding based on conversations with your staff, the initial plan for this building was to have a parking lot in the back of the building, and once that was established, the parking lot that is located in front of the building would be demolished. It is our understanding that there's some desire to have that parking lot in front of the building remain. That also assists us with some of your engineers' comments as far as the library and the use of parking there. So if that's something that the township desires, we certainly would leave that parking lot in front of the building. And I'll take any comment you have on that. We're certainly happy to do that.
We'd like to have that.
Okay, all right. We can make that happen. I do.
Need for you to speak up.
I'm trying to make it easy on you. I do have one ask at the end of this that my commissioners asked for, but I did want to go through the waiver.
Okay, hold on.
Yep.
If the parking lot is to be for the benefit.
Hold on. Yeah, we'll get to that point. Relax. Good.
All right. So let's move on to the waiver requests. We have 6 waiver requests here, all that we've worked through with your staff. The first waiver request is why we're here tonight, preliminary final approval. The second is for parallel parking in front of the building versus your standard stacked parking, right? And your planning commission agreed with that waiver as well. The third waiver pertains to the back of the building, the parking lot behind the building. Normally, parking lots are curbed all the way around the building. When you look at that parking lot behind the building, the newly constructed parking lot, you'll see some stormwater BMPs behind the building. And the best way to get the snow and the stormwater off to those stormwater swales is to not curb the back end of the parking lot there, right? And so we discussed this with your engineer and with the planning commission. They both agreed that this was acceptable. Of course, that's up to you all. The next two have to do with sidewalks, right? The first one is a partial waiver to not require sidewalks along Worcester and Woodburn Road and to seek grant funding opportunities. So we would, along with the township, seek funding for those sidewalks. We don't, we know that your ordinance requires them, and we want to pursue those grant opportunities to get those sidewalks built at some point. We just don't have the funding at this time for that. We are going to, you'll see there are sidewalks in the plan in front of you that come off of Woodburn. That would be done. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the patch. There's forest, I don't know what you would call it, from Woodburn to, what's the street, Kurt? Trenton, where there isn't any sidewalks in the plan. So that's the portion of land that we're talking about. And on Whistler, it's the wooded portion that's right across from the church there. You wouldn't think that part of this township is part of this parcel, but it is. It's a very large parcel, 125 acres, and that far side on Whistler is actually part of this property.
Yeah, but are you gonna do sidewalks all the way down Library Way, which is from your building to the tech school? Because the tech school has sidewalks. Library Way doesn't have sidewalks.
So that is our next E on the resolution, right? We are asking for a partial waiver for a sidewalk to be installed there. When you look at that road on Library Way, there is some markings, right? There's some bicycle lanes there. There's some marking there that we would continue onto our property right now. We would mark those so that there was a lane there on one side of the road. We don't have the funding right now for the sidewalks there on Library Lane. So again, we would put in, we asked that we be allowed to put in grant request and that to be continued.
For Library Way. I
Yeah.
don't care. Worcester Road, there's one across the street. You're talking about Worcester Road, but there's sidewalks across the street on Worcester Road. On the apartment side, so
Yeah,
why
no-
would you put sidewalks
Well,
in
it's just a requirement of your ordinance to have it on our
okay.
property if it's a boundary street. Yeah.
The other sidewalk you're referring to is behind the tech school down to your property.
That's right. Yeah.
front of
And we'd like to put striping in there right now because that's relatively cheap, and then look for grant money to put in a sidewalk there at some point in the future. That's our preference. When you look at the property, I have a picture of it, but you can't see it. From the tech school up Library Way, there's a gate there, if you've traveled that area, and there's no sidewalk there up to that gate, right? And so that's probably, how far is that, Jeff? Probably 100 feet to the gate, or?
From the new building?
From the tech school.
To the tech school, yeah.
The sidewalk ends about 100 feet before the gate.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. And so there's no sidewalk there, and then, so that's why there is striping there for a bike lane, so we'd ask to be permitted to continue that striping to our building, and then eventually put a sidewalk in there once we had the grant funding along Library Way.
So you would go after the grant funding?
Yes, for that, because that's internal to our property, so we would seek that. The other, on Woodburn and Whistler, that would be a co-application between the township and the county. Whistler.
Worcester Road, we're not looking for.
No, Worcester Road, their property abuts. Worcester Road on the one side. Ordinance requires any property, if you're developing, you put in sidewalks, whether it abuts it or not. Understood. But that's what he's asking about.
Yeah.
So Worcester Road against the wooded area, as well as Woodburn on the other side of the tract against the wooded area, is where they're asking for deferments.
Well, wait a minute. This picture that I'm looking at shows a sidewalk connecting to Woodburn Road.
Yeah, that one we would install. We're talking about north of there, all the way along
That is
Woodburn up to Trenton.
adjacent to the wooded area.
Yeah, up to Trenton.
From the county's driveway to the bridge.
Across the wooded area, all the way up.
To the bridge at
You talking about going this way? Going that way?
This way.
Okay, all right.
So, just a real quick summary. As Randy Elton said, the subdivision land development ordinance requires sidewalk along all property frontage. It also requires sidewalk internally along all drives on both sides. So we've worked with the county, and they've agreed to provide sidewalk, basically connecting the 5 Points intersection to both of their driveways, the one on New Falls and the one on Woodburn, and up both driveways to their facility. The waivers being requested are for the 1,800 feet along Worcester Road, and we agree that there is already existing sidewalk substantially on the opposite side of Worcester, and also from the Woodburn Road driveway down to the Quincy Hollow Creek. The only other area that was talked about is that section of Library Way that would connect the new facility to the tech school. And the tech school does have sidewalk that wraps all around it, coming from Worcester Road down into their facility, with the exception of the 100 feet to their gate. And if there's an interest for pedestrian accessibility in that area, in speaking with Matt Johnson from Pinoni, the traffic engineer for the township, he does not believe on-street striped pedestrian is preferred. If it's going to be pedestrian walkway, it should be traditional concrete sidewalk.
So that's what they're going after grant money.
They're going out for grant money. They're agreeing to pursue grant money for that.
For the sidewalk there, yeah.
Perhaps that's a likely candidate for sidewalk grants. It's not in a public right of way. It is on a governmental facility, so perhaps eligibility would still be there. But we know that Worcester Road and Woodburn Road sections, there's grant programs that likely could support them. Not so sure about the Library Way one, just because of it being a non-dedicated, non-public roadway.
So what if you can't get the grant money?
Well, that's a good question, and if we would, we're gonna do what you want us to do, obviously. You're the council, this is your township.
Well, you can write a rider and put a deadline on it, right?
So one of the things we talked about in conjunction with the pursuit of the grant funding, and Margie McKevitt and I spoke about it also, is there's a requirement to post the financial securities with the township. Do you have an approximate duration of how long the project would take to construct, start to finish?
2 years. Yeah, 2 years.
So that's a 2-year window when, if we go out for grants, usually March to June kind of is like the.
So in that time, you can try and obtain grant money.
So that could happen in 2024, and theoretically by November, toward the end of the year, you hear whether you're successful in receiving the grants, and then point being is by that 2-year window of construction, we can revisit. We have the escrow, so it's effectively until you complete the improvements, you don't get the escrow money back. But at that 2-year period, or maybe the facility's constructed and we can evaluate. We don't have a traffic impact study either, so we don't know the pedestrian counts. No one's done pedestrian studies out there. We really don't know necessarily the.
Traffic study on this? I was curious.
Hold on a second. What is the cost to do that sidewalk, do you know, from your facility to the tech school?
Jeff, did you get an estimate of the cost? Yeah. I don't know off the top of my head.
Just curious.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a big cost item.
Yeah.
And is that much?
4185 a square foot. So if it's 100 square feet,
That's more than
$50,000.
Yeah.
But you're also gonna need ADA stuff.
Yeah.
So about it's $50,000?
Well, that's for 100 square feet, but our portion is longer than 100 square feet.
100 square feet. Give it to me in linear feet, because we're talking in
Yeah.
100 feet, what's the distance? 200
Seems like
feet.
something that should be taken care of. Oh, sorry, it's me speaking.
The plans don't show the full length of it, so I can't.
It's $100,000.
Sounds like a order of magnitude.
That's not counting the ADA.
ADA ramps are a lot of money on their own.
Well, how many have to go in there?
We have.
Before.
Put them in.
It's about 500 linear feet. That's what my project engineer said.
Okay.
Give me a cost. You've done this before.
Where would you need the 4 ADA ramps? You said 4.
About 100,000? How much is this project costing? To build this
The
building?
whole thing.
The entire, about $22 million.
So, 100,000 of that for that sidewalk?
Well, we budgeted for, we've budgeted for what we have and not anymore. And
Well, we
That's where
just
we're at.
saved you on I construct or
I understand
decommission a parking lot
Yeah.
and BMPs.
These are the
Right.
kind of
Appreciate
things
I
that
don't
get,
know, I think you're hearing
that get
us.
waived and left and never get
done.
fixed.
Yeah.
This is exactly what happens with this. That's why I'm concerned. Like the Woodburn Road, I'm good with. Like, I get that.
Yeah,
We can do
Worcester Road,
grants.
get that.
And it's not a high impact area, but it's really important. And New Falls Road, really important. And do I understand this correctly, that you're gonna finish the sidewalk from the end of the driveway right to 5 Points to the corner? I'm sorry.
No, that's not that's not part of this property.
Okay, so you're just gonna go to the end of your driveway?
Just to the limits of their property lines. But there are
I get it.
substantial amounts of sidewalk from the intersection to the driveways.
Already there?
Correct.
I know that. There's a diner there, there's the other business, and so we're pretty darn close, and the township can figure out what to do to join that up, but,
All right, so if we hypothetically approve a plan, you would agree to go with grant money? What?
Mike,
You would, if hypothetically approve the plan, you would go with trying to get grant money for this project, for to finish the sidewalks, and if you couldn't get it, you would finish it.
I would say for the Library Way portion, yes, we would do that. For the other two portions, I can't commit to finishing those sidewalks if we don't have grant money, the Woodburn and the Whistler, just because it's such an enormous project.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Worcester.
Thank you.
Well, I think what we agreed upon is that if it's a deferment, you will complete them. You'll just try to kick the can down the road until you get the grant money.
Yeah, that's
You're gonna
right.
continue and
But let-
continue.
so
can we-
it's-
But can we put an end on that? Like, after 24 months, if you don't get financing, or you don't get a grant, that you're still, it's gonna have to be put in,
it's a deferment,
let's
not a
say.
waiver.
right?
We're talking
We're
about-
just talking Library Way.
I agree.
No,
yes.
we weren't talking Library Way. We're talking about Worcester Road and Woodburn Road right now.
The ones that you're okay with, not, you know.
Ah,
Yeah.
well,
Right.
never mind.
She's saying that we have, that we require them to do library work.
Yes,
I say Library.
Yes.
That's my thought.
There's a lot of traffic.
And we're,
Saying we should raise the deferment on Worcester and to Woodburn. And I have one question. My question is, when the tech school has their busing around their loop there, how, do you have any consideration, for that? If you're going to have traffic making a left out of your complex and then making a left onto the loop around the tech school. Can we make it so between the hours of 12 and 2, they can't make a left out of there? Because there's busing
you're
all
saying
around
Library
that
Way.
loop.
You're saying
Not
Library Way.
Way, around the tech school. There's a loop around the tech school. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's a designated road.
Do you think traffic would come from there over?
Are we talking about opening that gate?
Yeah,
It's open now? All right.
So Marianne, you're saying that around the tech school, the loop road, buses line up on that
Yes.
through the hours of
Yes, all
noon
around.
till 2 o'clock, and you're wondering if
we
vehicles
can-
leaving and coming to this site would conflict with those buses during those times?
yes, there's children, they're coming to the buses.
That's what
The
a traffic
buses
study
are-
will help with.
Yeah, just on kind of like the topic of these roads are privately owned, including the tech school driveways. The gate is there physically. I believe from what we've asked around, we've heard that occasionally it gets closed, but
Yes, I've
substantially it
seen it
remains
closed.
open.
Yeah, but I've seen it closed.
Dan, did you say that you did confirm the deeds do allow access through that tech school driveway? The county does have,
Yes, the tech school has access through our property. The fire company has access through our property. The gate is on the tech school property. We have no control over that gate.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
so the tech school can use the county's roads, but we're not certain whether the county has,
I did look
Rights
at
to.
the tech school's deed to see if we had access that way.
Do I understand this correctly? We're not going to see a traffic study for this project? Am I correct in that? You're not going to do a traffic study?
No, not right now. Right now, we're required to do a traffic study. That was an additional ask that the commissioners asked me to make tonight, but certainly we're going to do what council wants us to do. If you all want a traffic study, then we're going to do that. When we look at and this is all I'll say on that, right, is we have a building there right now. There's about 30 to 40 employees in that building that we're going to demolish. Right, the new building will have about 70, 75 employees in it. So we're talking about 30 more employees using that area. There's gonna be more people coming there, granted, right? This is a new building, we want people coming here for services. So it's not just employees traveling there, but we have people coming to the existing building. So, you know, in our opinion, right, and I got it, you all have your own opinion as well. We think that the use, there's an argument that the use isn't changing so substantially that a traffic study would be required.
Sure, let me just say this, just so you have a sense of how we, wait a minute.
They have the busing out there, and the kids go to the busing, they have gym out there. So I really think that a traffic study.
Wait, the point I was gonna make is real simple. The way we tend to operate here, because we really like to get it right, we don't wanna have problems. So if you're gonna open a Dunkin' Donuts here, we're doing a traffic study. If you're going to open a business that's going to have 2 employees, you need to show me a traffic study. If you're changing the complexity of that particular property and facility, you're adding, like you say, half again as many people as are employed there now, you need a traffic study. I mean, frankly, let me say this. Because that's the way we operate, and we appreciate having that, I'm of the opinion that that particular intersection, simply on New Falls Road, is a horror right now.
Well, and just to speak to that for a second, right? So we are submitting a HOP application with PennDOT, and so some of that will get, PennDOT could require us to do a traffic study as well. We certainly respect your opinions, and we will do a traffic study if that's what you all desire and need. I just wanted to make the point, we are, like you, we operate under a budget here, and, everything costs money, and so it's, it's not.
Safety is paramount.
No, I agree with you.
I'm sensitive to that, and I think we all are on council sensitive to that and what it takes to do municipal work. It's difficult. But at the same time, we can't turn our backs because we like you guys.
No.
And we do. We like you guys, and that's the truth of the matter. I want to see this go through in the smoothest possible way. But at the same time, I'm disrespecting my duty and commission here to do my due diligence to make sure that I have the right information when we make decisions. So, with all due respect, show us a traffic study.
I understand that.
So what we could do to move this forward, we can make a motion for preliminary and final with the conditions that we put on it with the sidewalk and the grant money. If it's not done, you're gonna have to finish it on Library Road. And we know PennDOT's usually PennDOT screws everything up. Time-wise. Well, that's the truth, but time-wise, getting things done, like, I know you guys are shovel-ready, but PennDOT hasn't approved anything yet. But we could move it forward with the conditions that when the township engineer, if you do a traffic study and you agree and all that.
Pending any,
Yeah, and you'll have to follow the engineer's guidelines.
Absolutely. So whatever the traffic study, we'll talk to your traffic engineer and Gilmore and follow those guidelines. And,
Right.
We believe we can make this work. We're happy to be partners with you all in this project.
Okay.
Yeah, Scott had put most of that in the resolution.
So the only thing that we'll come back to, it looks like we have everything. We talked about the parking lot. We talked about Worcester and Woodburn Roads. We're all good there. The traffic impact study's in there. So what do you want to, so we want to see the sidewalks for Library Way. We've been going back and forth on the deferment. Do we want a time period? What do you want specifically to say to the sidewalk on Library Way?
24 months?
You can put that in there. You good with that?
Yeah, we're good with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
What about the
We didn't make a
traffic
motion
going
yet.
out to the tech school from there?
What's that?
What about the traffic going out from?
I don't think there'll be
traffic study.
coming out.
They're not
But the
going to make.
traffic
They're not
study-
going to make a left and go down to the tech school and go out to Worcester Road that way. I believe
they will.
Sure. Why not? I mean, they do it now. I walk there. I live right there. They do it.
All right, so you want a traffic study with that included?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I think we should consider something that they can't go left
traffic
between the hours that the buses are there. The summertime's a different story.
That's why.
And then we have to have a conversation with the tech school about the kids having, they do gym outside on their grounds.
Whatever works best for the township, as far as that, we're not gonna fight you on that intersection. If we wanna direct people out the other exits, that's fine with us. Yeah,
And that's why we want a traffic study.
I understand
There's
that.
a couple loose ends there,
Yeah.
so everybody's protected.
Just one clarification that would help us with the sidewalk on Library Way. If we're unable to secure grants in the next year or so, we would like, if possible, 24 months from the completion of the project to install the parking lot or the
I
sidewalk?
think that's fair.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's fair. Okay, so we'll need a motion and then we
Can
have
can
some
I just
questions.
ask, because we've been in these boats before. Most
yes, we
times,
have.
projects that come before council are, but we're moving quickly. They have
Thank you for that.
funding at stake here to keep this moving, so that's why we're here. But just going back, I want to make sure, Randy, we're on the same page. The Worcester Road and the Woodburn Road, is that a partial waiver this evening, or that's tied to this?
No, that's partial waiver.
So that's not,
We're still going to
So
jointly go.
partial waiver means it's never going to happen.
Right.
Deferment means that they're going to go out for grant money.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
what
build
we
it.
want, deferment.
Yes.
Yes,
It's a
and that's the way
deferment.
it's currently written, and I think that was what we agreed to. Yep.
Thank you for clarifying that. Sorry, don't know it all.
we just need the direction so we all know when the job's done, that the county's not upset, that the council's not upset, that everything that everyone expects.
Scott, you want to clarify?
But Worcester
Yeah,
Road,
we
not,
will, so, as we've discussed, the Worcester Road, the Woodburn Road sidewalk improvements, we call it partial waiver deferment. The idea of the way it's written is that it doesn't need to be completed to hold up a use and occupancy permit.
That's right.
And there's gonna be a joint effort between the
they don't
township and the
do it on
county
Worcester Road.
to get grant money for those two roads outside.
Correct.
As it relates to Library Way then, same thing, it's a minor deferment, but this one's time sensitive.
Right.
If they can't get the grant money, it still needs to be between, based on what we talked about tonight, 24 months within completion of the project. That'll be timed to the, whenever the use and occupancy permit is issued.
Got it.
Or I should say the temporary, whatever, it will be a temporary one first.
TCU.
Yeah.
And the last thing is the traffic study.
And the traffic study, that's a requirement all in itself, that,
Yep.
nothing other than.
And PennDOT approval, of course, which.
Yes.
Good luck with that.
And I did, at least for what it's worth, I did speak with Matt Johnson, maybe it was yesterday afternoon, and he said that, he's our traffic engineer with Benoni, he said that as far as the traffic study goes, PennDOT may have their own asks for their own permits, but he said he'll work with the county to do a focused, limited scope on that traffic impact study to try to
We appreciate that.
help move it forward.
Thank you
Terrific.
for,
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. And I don't know if a motion was made or
I'll
not,
make the
but I was
motion.
just
yeah, we
asked.
need a motion.
I will make the motion
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion by Mary Ann Wagner, second by Marcia Dunlap. Any
with
questions
all
on this motion?
all of the conditions.
Yep, with all the conditions.
I think you might have a comment.
Come on up. Haven't seen you for a while.
Go other places. I'm Mike Nye from Indian Creek, a resident of the township. I just wanted to.
Yeah, I can't hear.
Okay, I'm Mike Nye, a resident of the township. I just wanted to clarify, foot traffic is in the traffic study?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you have to come up and give us your name and.
My name is Willie Tye, T-Y-E. I live at 910 Winder Drive in Bristol. Behind my house, Lafayette School that they tore down.
Oh, wait, we're
No,
talking
that's
about
question
this
only
project.
on this topic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wes, you want to come up for a comment? Check this out.
Hi, Wes.
How are you? I heard you all talking traffic study and all this. I didn't hear nobody say a word about the homeless shelters right there.
Well, that's not the topic we're discussing right now.
All the traffic for that is right there, right where you're talking about.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
It'll be in the traffic study.
I suggest you go there tomorrow and see if they're there.
All right. So on that motion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Thank you, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for working with the township.
Yeah.
Dan
Thank you
and-
so
and
much.
everybody, we're not trying to shoot the messenger. We understand.
Yeah, we gotta change it.
Hey, Amy?
I'll change it. I mean.
Amy?
Yeah. See. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. We're gonna have to move along because we. Yep, first, give me a second. Make sure we got everything on here. So next on the agenda, it's from C all the way down to Q to R. Yep, to R. So this is going to be application to hold on one second. Yep, this is going to be grant application to the redevelopment authority of the county of Bucks for the next quite a few of them. And I'm just going to read off this for Green Light Go Grant much funds for traffic signal upgrade at New Falls Road, Newportville Road, and section amount of $50,000. We'll need a motion on that. I'll make that motion. Motion by Patrick Antonella, second by Joe Glasson on the motion. Is there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next one,
Yeah, you
can I do them all?
Yes,
Okay.
read them all off and we take one
You
vote.
got it. Yay. Okay. Next one is for Axon Body Drone Program and Storage in the amount of $51,139. Next one's for Bristol Township Police Department replacement body worn cameras and car cameras, license plate readers, and inclusion of required licensing, warranty, and storage in the amount of $133.92. $133,092. Thank you. I didn't see no zeros there. I got messed up. Thank you, thank you. For Speed Alert, 24 radar message trailers. Yep, 2 of them. Shield, 12 radar, speed display, 10, an amount of $86,581. Next one is for automated license plate recognition, ALPR cameras, 3, an amount of $98,320.
Alpers.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Okay, where are we at here? Hold on, on traffic. And, thank you, County. For traffic signal indication upgrades at Bristol Pike and Cedar Avenue, Walnut Avenue, Mill Creek Parkway, and Haynes Road, Veterans Highway and Otter Street, Veterans Highway and Bath Road, Dorm Road, Bristol Pike and Green Lane, Veterans Highway and Rockview Drive, an amount of $60,000. Next one is, yep, Mill Creek Road at Edgeley Road improvements in an amount of $150,000. Next one for the practice field renovations, an amount of $116,852. The next one is for vehicle rescue equipment for Bristol Township Fire Rescue, an amount of $20,000. Next one, restoration of ambulance and remount for Levittown Fairless Hills Rescue Squad, an amount of $20,000. For replacement vehicle rescue tools for Edgeley Fire Company, amount of $20,000. To purchase pagers and turnout gear for Levittown Fire 2, an amount of $20,000. For upgrading garage doors and main man door for Croydon Fire Company, an amount of $87,878. For Homatro, thank you. Pantheon Rescue System, never heard of that before. For 3rd District Fire Company, an amount of $67,978. for Newportville Fire Company in the amount of $196,028. For graffiti removal and litter program in the amount of $175,000. And that's it.
One more.
Nope, that's it.
These are all the RDA ones.
Right.
RDA.
So I need a motion on all
I'll
that.
make that motion.
I have a motion by Patrick
I'll
Antonella.
second it.
Second by Marcia Dunlap. On the motion, is there any questions?
I do have a question on I. What's happening for Mill Creek and Edgeley improvements?
Right, I was going to give a little summary, but I know the meeting's gone a little long. So on Mill Creek and Edgeley, speaking with Matt Johnson, our traffic engineer, it would be to line up the intersection, since it's an offset
Right.
intersection. That would be
It is.
taking out the median concrete that's adjacent on Mill Creek to, adjacent to Edgeley, where Aldi is. So and then be able to line up the intersection as a 4-point intersection to make it a little safer.
Okay.
Wes, you had a question? Come on up.
On section F, the speed alert 24 radar message trailers, what are they for? And what are they?
They're the
Traffic
trailers,
calming.
they're the trailers that get put out by the police department or,
Oh, it shows you the
This is your
speed
speed.
you're going?
Yes.
It's not for speed. This is for digital messaging, to alert for any
Oh, okay.
emergency
Okay,
services.
okay.
Yes?
Yes, I noticed we're spending money to collect license plate data.
Yep.
What are we doing with the data when we collect it?
I don't know. I believe that that's something that the police
No,
department would
that's
know.
something when there's an,
It's not we're collecting it. It's if it's a hit that that it's being wanted or that it's being, it doesn't just collect the information. If there's a warrant out, something of that nature.
You're saying the data is not stored?
It-
It's held long enough to inspect for warrants and then deleted?
it's a reader, not a storage device, and the police use it because every single day, there's a list of stolen vehicles, of suspect vehicles, and so if they see a vehicle that matches the description, they read the license plate. That's it. There's
So
no,
it
there's
won't-
nothing, there's no
I just
mystery,
wanna-
secret,
I wanna
pedophile,
clarify. I
pizza
can't
parlor, anything like that.
I'd like to clarify. It would be impossible a week later to find out who went through an intersection.
Yes, to the best of my knowledge, yes, unless that particular vehicle was identified as a stolen vehicle or something like that, then there would be a record.
But generally speaking, you drive through, no storage of the
They're
data.
not scanning everybody. They're only scanning vehicles that are already on a list.
Scan everybody, or it makes no difference. They're just not storing the data. They use it.
Officers, can
They're
you
not scanning everybody. They're not scanning everybody. Do you understand? It's a
Well, how
reader
about
that is
this? We'll find out
employed.
the information for you. How's that? We'll get your name, phone number, we'll find out the information.
So we'll delay the motion tonight?
No, I'm not gonna delay.
Okay.
No, this is a grant, this is a year
Application.
2 of a grant, of a 5-year program. So they already approved the grant from last year, the RDA, so we're going to do it for 5 years, because that's how much it costs each year. So, we will find out the information, we will post it and let people know what exactly, I don't know the technical ins and outs. I just trust my police department saying that they need it, it's wanted, and we are requesting it.
And I would say one more thing. You know how hard it is to read a license plate by visual, by eye? Have you tried that?
I've had eyes, yes.
Yeah, but moving car, dirty license plate under glass, that's why the reader's necessary.
I get that it's an automatic system. I get that they're looking for warrants. They're looking
You're
for
worried about
stuff.
storage.
I'm just wanting to know that a week later,
What?
What happens a week later? I'm serious, I'm
No,
just
I'm-
curious.
I'm asking about storage. If you see it, you note if it's a warranted car or not a warranted car. If it's not a warranted car, nothing. I just want,
I don't know.
Well,
what the
yeah,
law is.
why would we want to store everybody's license plate?
storage is easy. It happens.
Yeah, but why?
I don't know your motive.
I mean,
I don't think you have a motive.
in order for that to mean anything, you would have to write down the circumstances, the details, like, what, I don't get it.
I assume if a car is warranted, someone's going to get arrested.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I also assume that data that's unnecessary is
All right,
deleted.
no, it doesn't get stored. We have the answer.
There you go.
There you go. Yay.
All right.
Thank you.
Can somebody make a motion on all those?
Yeah.
It's already been done.
yeah,
We're doing
Pat already
questions
did,
now.
so I guess I'll second it.
I'll second.
Yeah.
It's already
I
been
seconded
done.
Mary Ann. Yep, we both seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Resolution authorizing the township manager to submit a statewide local share assessment grant to the Department of Community and Economic Development, DCED, for an enclosed trailer equipment with specialized rescue equipment for response to high-risk rescue operations, an amount of $236,359.
I'll make the motion. I'll second it then.
All right, motion by Marion Wagner, second by Sidney Murphy on the motion. Is there any questions? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you. 2024 financial requirement, minimum municipal obligation, Bristol Township Police Pension Fund.
Thank you. We heard tonight that our pension fund is nicely funded. It's because we supply our minimum municipal obligation in every year. And this year, the minimum municipal obligation is $1,234,655,000. Wait, I got a Craig Bowen in me. $1,234,655.
Okay, great.
Motion.
Make that motion.
Motion by Patrick Antonello. Second by Joe Glass. In order to the motion, is there any question about funding the pension?
Negative.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Next, we have 2024 financial requirement, minimum municipal obligation for Bristol. Oh, we did that.
No,
Oh, is that, oh, I'm
There's
sorry.
a police pension and a regular, and a
Yep,
pension for
thank you. Minimum
non-uniform.
municipal obligation for Bristol Township Pension Fund.
And this is for our non-uniform, for, in the amount of MMO of $160,996.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Cindy Murphy. Second by Marion Wagner. Is there any questions about funding the pension for the non-uniform workers? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Bids for 2023 inlet replacement project.
Oh, boy, this is a nice one.
Yes. We have, so we put out for the RDA for last year, and we received it for this year, money that we're going to match with our State and Local Fiscal Recovery Act. We have a bid, the bids came in, and we have an intent to award to T. Schieffer Contractors, Inc. This contractor will have to go through a 30-day public review because of our responsible contractor ordinance. But tonight, we recommend to make a motion to award that, go through a 30-day review, and get the contracts all ready, and then the project can get started.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by
second.
Cindy Murphy.
Second.
Second by Patrick Antonello on the motion. Is there any questions about the inlet replacement project? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Last is bids for Bucks County Consortium for 2023-2024 rock salt.
Rock salt.
The one, what we
yeah.
didn't use last year.
Do we need more?
Well, this is just so that we're part of the bid if we
Right.
do need
That
it.
doesn't go bad, though, right?
And this is actually kind of neat. Sylvie Concrete Products in our hometown is the person that, or the company that
Low bid?
was the low bid.
Oh, that's good.
In the amount of $66 per ton delivered.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Motion on that.
Make that motion.
We have a motion by Joe Glasson.
Second.
Second by Patrick Antonello. Is there any questions about buying the rock salt? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
Aye,
Thank you.
Captain.
Moving right along here, other business. Is there any other business? Okay, next we have comments from council members. Any comments? Anything? Nothing? All right, next we have opportunity for residents to address council. And first one is John Sanders. John Sanders, you're here. How you doing, John? Haven't seen you
John.
for a while.
Same here. I'm here tonight to ask the council's help for something. Mary Ann knows a little bit about this because at the school board meeting the other day. Just to give you a little history, on September 7th, my wife was going to work and a school bus turned in front of her. She had the right of way. She was going straight. and the bus turned right in front of her. She had to slam on her brakes to avoid hitting the bus. We have dash cam footage of it that we sent to the school board or the school district, whatever, to have Chris look at it. Supposedly the driver has reviewed the video with them and everything, but we're asking that the police, the township, someone go up there and watch that intersection occasionally to see what these bus drivers are doing. Right up at Truman High, at Green Lane. Yeah, Green Lane and Mill Creek, right there. Yep, and the thing is in the video you can see the kids. I mean, we're all talking about the kids and stuff today. These kids are on that bus, and she would have hit right past the door of the school bus, and there would have been kids injured. And also, the traffic backs up at that intersection badly. I mean, the other day, she sat through 4 cycles of lights just to go through.
I know.
It is.
How long during the day is that like that? Because I know they let out in phases, right, Mary Ann?
10 after 7 in the morning for Truman.
Yeah, this was in the morning.
It's crazy between Mill Creek and Emily down Green Lane and coming up Mill Creek to make a left. Because if you're on Green Lane and you're passing Truman on your right and you hit the light and somebody wants to make a left, there's only one lane there. So they stop at their left-hand turn, and the traffic's coming from 13 up to Truman, and the light just stays green and nobody moves because they can't turn. So unless somebody sits there and allows, it backs up coming from 13 up to Truman also. If somebody doesn't stop when it backs up and allow the cars to make a left, it's just gridlock. It's a nightmare there. It's 10 after 7 in the
Yeah,
morning.
it is a tough intersection. We know that, but you're.
It seems to move a little better in the afternoon when Truman's letting out at 2:30. It seems to be better, but it's really the morning from like say 7 o'clock to 20 after 7. It's a nightmare there.
But the main thing though is that
I don't know how we're gonna fix that.
I know, but if like that day, if she would have hit that bus.
Yeah, we got it.
No, but you guys weren't going to get any emergency vehicles in there. Their fire department, ambulances, no one's getting in there. So, I mean, I asked the school district the other night, I know it's not their road, but someone needs to be directing that traffic and keep it moving because it's just backing up. I mean, hire a police officer, fire police, someone, until they can do something, but
All right,
thank you.
we'll see what we can do. Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Next, we have Wes
We
Wessler.
don't have anybody that does that job. I mean,
Wes, come on up. Good to see you, Wes. It's been a while. It's been a couple weeks.
You guys are wanting to get out of here fast, huh?
Well,
You're looking good.
we
For
charge
just
by
getting
the
out of
hour.
hospital 2 days ago, I'm looking pretty good, right?
We charge by the hour, so we don't want to take the taxpayers' money.
Okay, ready to go?
Ready to go. Bring it on.
I'm gonna bring up, your police department.
Oh,
And
no.
failing to do their duties.
Oh,
It was great
no.
tonight because they had their oath right here in front of everybody, so everybody heard that they're supposed to be, defending and upholding the laws and statutes of the Commonwealth, and also the, township ordinances, right? So what you have here is you have police that are failing to respond to my calls. And I've heard that they were given a directive by Officer Michael Slaughter that they're not to respond to me, that he will take care of all calls at due time when he wants. Now, the way I'm understanding that is he is agreeing that he's going to hinder prosecution and obstruct justice. So it sounds like to me. Now, the reason I say that is my next door neighbor has had junk in his yard for over a year. He has a swimming pool in his yard that has no fence to protect it from people getting into it. And I know that's wrong because I don't have a locking gate. It's got a ladder that steadily stays in that pool.
did you come here to drop a dime on your neighbor?
I don't care about that. I'll come to your house just like I did about your fence ready to fall down. You remember that?
No.
Now it's fixed.
My fence did fall down. A guy drove through it. He
Uh-huh.
drove through one side and out the other.
Okay, so
Turns
anyway-
out he was a heroin
anyway,
addict.
The neighbor put up a fence now. You know the nice plastic fence you use for leaves?
Where?
He took a piece.
Your
of that-
neighbor?
He took a piece of that plastic fence.
Your
and he
neighbor?
reeled that plastic fence across there, and it's hanging all over the place.
Your neighbor?
So that's not.
Are you talking about your
That's
neighbor?
not a fence.
Who are you
for-
talking about?
That's not a fence that's approved for having a
Who
swimming
are
pool,
you talking
right?
about? Who are you
The
talking?
electric lines run underneath or over top of his pool.
Oh, you're
That-
talking about your neighbor,
that-
Phil.
That is a violation of state too. Now, the other neighbor on the other corner, he's got junk all piled up against his fence, and he parks on the grass continually. Now, your license and inspection guy, Bo, has went and wrote me for having cars parked on my grass. So what happens with my other neighbors? If they don't get cited?
Have you
Are- are
filed,
they-
have you
are-
filed an official complaint?
Are they CIs?
Have you filed an official
They
complaint?
confidential informants, or they
Have you
friends
filed
of the
a
police?
official complaint? Have you made an
I
official
file
complaint?
I file official complaints here all the time. You know where they go?
Where do they go?
Nowhere.
Oh, my God.
So,
Anything else, Wes?
yeah. They got vehicles on the streets right near my house that are parked on the street facing in the wrong direction. Not only they're facing in the wrong direction, their inspection stickers are expired.
Oh,
They
my
just leave
God.
them there. That's the police's job to cite them for being on the street and being facing the wrong way. So
Next
don't-
thing you
don't
know,
sit there and say,
cats
"Oh,
and
my
dogs
God,"
will be
next
living
thing-
together.
Hey, if there was a Dunkin' Donuts there, be all right, man.
I
You
love,
want me to chime in?
Anything else, Wes?
I'm a Dunkin' guy, man.
Anything
I
else,
love their
Wes?
iced coffee.
Anything else, Wes?
Yeah, I still got time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Use
about
it up,
40
buddy.
seconds. What about the fire police guy in my neighborhood with his golf cart that drives out on the state highway? He drives on Newport Road. He drives on Route 413 with his golf cart.
Is it
Is
inspected?
that legal?
Is it inspected?
You know it ain't inspected,
That golf cart has a 427 V8 in it.
Cobra Jet.
Right.
That's not your regular golf cart.
Right.
Because he has got to get to where he needs to be. He's fire
You
police.
think you're being all funny. You ain't being
I'm not,
funny at all.
no, comedy's
No, I
my,
don't think the residents think you're being funny at all.
I'm sure the residents.
Got about 4 seconds. You ready?
1,000.
You're done.
Thank you, Wes. Always great
Thank
to
you,
see
Wes.
Thank you for coming out and joining us, and we thank everybody. Maybe, did you sign in, ma'am?
No, I didn't.
But you
I
can
didn't know
talk.
the procedure.
Yeah, that's all right. Come
Do
on
you
up.
have to do that before the meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, but that's okay. Come on up.
This is my first time coming to a Bristol Township,
Yeah, name and address.
so I just want to know where are... I'm sorry, Alice Wardlow, 3 Gate Lane, Greenbrook section.
Okay.
I have a question. Where are we as far as the senior center in being rebuilt or redeveloped? Where are we with that?
Good question.
That was addressed, but we'll address it again.
Van talked about it a little bit if you were
Yeah.
here when we had the.
So
Oh.
we've been having issues with an architect and an engineer. So what we've decided to do is and it just was discussed today, to take out the portion right now of the renovation for the fire company, for the fire station, and move forward with the site work and the new building, new construction of the senior center. So
Gonna
that
go
was
out to
just,
bid.
that was just discussed today, that we're gonna move forward with that and, hopefully be able to get bids out within, 3 to 4 weeks, probably sooner.
Do we have the money that, we're supposed to provide a certain percentage? Has that already been allocated?
The money has never been the issue. It's been, we took out loans many years ago for this. The issue has been the bids that are coming in or exceed our loan amount. We think now is the right time, over the last couple of years, that pricing has gone down, and we've buttoned up some of our desires to make it more efficient and efficient spending. So, you know, money hasn't been the issue.
Okay, thank you. And the second question was comparing to other townships around us that have 2 or 3 pickleball courts, and we're the only municipality, except Bristol, that doesn't have pickleball courts, which is the #1 sport right now for people over 40.
Right, so we talk, I'm sorry. So we also have 29 parks. So we have the most parks in all of the county. So we have a plan out for our Park and Rec update. It does talk about all the plans for all the different parks that, you know, have been neglected over the years just because of financial issues over the past decade. There's a couple areas that we're talking about putting in pickleball. One of them was Washington, where Washington Elementary School was demolished and is going to be donated to the town. So that's going to be a complex that we're looking at putting it there. Potentially at Humphreys Park, where the old tennis courts were. And we can look into other areas as well. The way I understood it, for the meantime, Bonnie had asked, the executive director, Bonnie Worth, had asked about Wednesdays using the parking lot for the senior center as pickleball, and we gave her permission to do that.
Right, I understand that, but there's no fences, there's no nothing except a net.
Right.
So, yeah.
We're looking at all that.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming. We appreciate that.
We need a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much. Great to see everybody, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thank you.